spent a week on board Sky Princess and she completely surprised us. She's such a beautiful ship. If we're talking purely about looks and style, she's probably our second favourite, just behind Celebrity Edge. She's modern, light, stylish, but still has a classic feel.
She's not trying to be big and flashy like some of the newer ships. It's more understated and elegant, which we really loved.
From the moment we stepped on board, we were blown away by the blue chandelier and the warm tones in the piazza. The staff were instantly super welcoming and there was such a lovely feel throughout the ship. The first thing we did was head up to the pool deck to test the medallions, which are exclusive to Princess. You carry them around the ship just like you would your cruise card. The medallions track your location, which means you can order food and drink and it will find you anywhere on board.
This freaked Nathan out on our first night. A staff member knew our names before we'd even ordered.
He tried to convince us that we'd met before, but in reality we just showed up on his tablet.
The medallion system works side by side with the app. You can order drinks, unlock your cabin, or even track down each other around the ship. The medallion tech is one of the best we've used at sea. You can also message other passengers, see the day's activities, and book dining. Whilst on the pool deck, we noticed all the towels were already nicely folded on the sun loungers, which we thought was such a nice touch. Blankets are also available if you're feeling a bit chilly, and there are even blankets at the entrance to the theatre. It's little touches like this that make the experience feel extra special.
Not gonna lie, I was a little bit obsessed with the blankets.
They even had movies under the stars on the pool deck, and in the evenings they put padding over the sun loungers to make them that bit more comfortable. We did notice that on sea days there were times the ship felt quite busy, especially in the lifts and in the piazza. This could have been down to our itinerary sailing around Norway and Denmark, with a lot more people gravitating towards the indoor spaces. That was even more noticeable because we ended up having 3 sea days instead of 2 after our port in Skagen was cancelled due to bad weather. Of course it was a bit disappointing, but safety has to come first. It did get a little rough on that unexpected sea day, and Amy felt a little sick. Since our cabin was forward and high up on the ship, we definitely felt more of the movement. She had a greenish apple, and took some seasickness tablets, and after we moved to a different location of the ship, she was fine.
Luckily, there are loads of lovely indoor venues to enjoy. The piazza was great with loads of little bars around the edges. Good Spirits was one of our favourites. We also really liked the Vista Lounge, and in the evenings we spent a lot of time in Take 5, which had the most amazing jazz band. We couldn't get over how good they were, and the guy's voice was excellent.
The only downside to this area was that Take 5 sits right next to the large onboard casino, where smoking is allowed whilst playing. The smell of cigarette smoke would occasionally drift through, especially if you're sitting in good spirits or walking out of Take 5.
I didn't notice anything.
Of course, on most ships, venues can get very busy during peak times, so it's a good idea to get there early if there's an activity or performance that you don't want to miss. The bar we struggled with the most was Princess Live. It was a really lovely venue.
But it's definitely too small for the size of the ship, especially since it hosts a lot of the game shows and quizzes, which are clearly very popular.
There was even a time when they literally added plastic chairs around the edges just for people to squeeze in. One staff member even said, "This ship is beautiful, but God, this venue is so small."
Funnily enough, this was also the venue where we had the most trouble getting drinks. The medallion usually works brilliantly around the ship, but in Princess Live we didn't receive our drinks on a couple of occasions, and both times we had to chase them up at the bar. The first time, we ordered our drinks at the beginning of a quiz, and by the end of it, they still hadn't arrived. Part of this was probably because there were only 2 or 3 staff at the bar at any given time. We definitely felt they needed more bar staff in this venue, especially considering how popular it was here. It's a shame that Princess Live was so busy because we didn't really get a chance to take part in many of the quizzes, and we didn't make it into most of the game shows. Since we usually ended up in Take 5 and we love jazz, we couldn't complain too much.
And to be fair, the musicians around the ship were absolutely brilliant. There was a busker who usually performed in the Crown Grill Bar, and he even had a set on the pool deck where he played Busted. There was also a fantastic party band in the piazza each evening. Party in the plaza earlier was so much fun, I really enjoyed it, and the band was brilliant. Everyone was really getting into dancing and everything, which is really lovely.
The quality of the entertainment on board was really impressive. The singers in the theatre show might have been some of the best we've heard on a ship.
That said, while we loved the performances themselves, we weren't the biggest fans of the theatre pieces. They felt a little disjointed and didn't flow very well. A prime example is the variety show, where the cruise director read out random jokes in the middle of the musical numbers, which kept breaking up the performances. We also had high hopes for rock opera, but it didn't feel very rocky.
They did sing quite a few pop songs, I would say, rather than rock songs.
And there were different arrangements,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't say they were particularly
Rocky.
There were songs from The Greatest Showman, and they also sang I Don't Know How to Love Him from Jesus Christ Superstar, which is probably the least rock song in the whole musical.
Not complaining, we love musical theatre, but it definitely wasn't rock. Disclaimer, we are theatre geeks and performers ourselves, so we may be a bit more critical than the other guests when it comes to shows and performances.
The harmonies, though, were top tier.
We love the fact that they have a live band. That alone is incredible.
Nathan really got excited when he heard that there was a guest tenor coming on board. The singer was very talented, but Nathan had high hopes for an operatic tenor, so he was a little bit disappointed that it wasn't quite how he imagined.
There was also a guest act, a magician who performed in the theatre one night, but we felt there was a bit too much talking and not enough actual magic.
It just really wasn't our thing.
In addition to the main theatre shows, there were 2 guest comedians on board, Jay McGee and Deliso Chaponda. We really enjoyed both of their sets, especially the late night adults only shows. They had the whole lounge laughing.
Although we loved the entertainment on board, we did feel like the later it got, the worse it became.
Entertainment of this ship seems to be great up until about 12, and then after that, when you get to the late night disco, is where it kind of goes.
There never seemed to be much of a build-up to the proper party, so by the time the late night disco started, most people were already winding down. For example, the guitarist often played a chilled, late night set beforehand, which we really enjoyed, but it completely mellowed us out before the party had even begun.
Another example is the silent disco, which we think is a great way to lead into the late night disco, but they held it at 7 p.m, which I don't know about you, but that's just about dinner time for us, and we're still easing into the night. If you want to get people in the mood for the evening, it should be held later. Of course, the fact that the late night disco wasn't very busy could also be down to the type of guests on board or the itinerary. But overall, we just weren't feeling it. And the DJ, well, he wasn't great. He played random songs that nobody was dancing to, which he was clearly vibing with himself. If you've seen our day-to-day vlogs on our channel, you'll know he even made Amy cry.
That's so rude.
Since we released that vlog, we've heard a few other stories from people also having bad experiences with that DJ. So, Princess?
Maybe it's time to do something about him.
However, he was the only negative experience we had with the crew. Everybody else was absolutely amazing. The cruise director, Dan, was a fantastic mix of comedy and charisma, very engaging and always visible around the ship. He even had his own show in the theatre where he opened up about his past mental health struggles, which was incredibly touching. He also has a background in performing but hadn't sung in a while, and considering he was just getting back into it, we thought he did really well.
We also really loved the activity leader, Luke, who, funny enough, we had met on his very first cruise several years ago, just before we started sharing our cruises on this channel.
We post new videos every Sunday, and we may have set ourselves a slightly mad goal of 5,000 subscribers before Christmas, so if you fancy helping us out, click, click, click.
After all that entertainment on board and exploring this beautiful ship, we were really keen to check out the food. There are 3 main dining rooms to suit different types of cruisers. The Silo restaurant offers bookable anytime dining. You can make a reservation for this restaurant through the Princess Cruises app. Since you need to reserve a table here, you might find yourself queuing to get in, but don't worry, the line usually moves really quickly. Then there's the Australia dining room, which also offers anytime dining, and you can just walk in anytime it's open. No reservations are needed, although you may have to wait during busy periods. As we prefer the flexibility of anytime dining, we alternated between these 2 main dining rooms during our cruise. If you're more of a classic cruiser set time diner, the Soleil dining room is set aside for fixed dining times if that's more your style. There's 2 seatings here, with the first at 5:30 p.m. and the second at 7:45 p.m. We thought the included food in the dining rooms was absolutely delicious. Honestly, there wasn't much to complain about. Well, maybe one small thing. On a few occasions, we ran into some stale bread. Not literally, of course.
The buffet had some of the best variety we've seen at sea since Celebrity Edge. We couldn't believe how much there was on offer, and we particularly loved the nachos. There was even a whole pastry shop dedicated to sweet treats. If you have the Princess Plus or Premier packages, you can order complimentary room service to your cabin, including breakfast, as long as you pre-order it the night before. We really regretted not trying this sooner, because on one of our last mornings, we had pizza muffins which were out of this world. We were not used to this kind of posh treatment. We'd have to say Princess has some of the best included food we've seen at sea.
That said, we were a bit disappointed with the casual casual dining options. Some of the main dining room food
Better than
the casual dining options.
100%, I completely agree.
They just didn't feel anything special, and the pizza at Alfredo's was pretty average compared to what we've had on other cruise lines. MSC, for example, does a great pizza. If we hadn't had the Princess Plus package, these venues would have been an extra charge, and we'd have been disappointed paying for them. One pizza we did love, though, was from Slice on the pool deck. We actually preferred it to Alfredo's. And if you're enjoying movies under the stars, you can grab other hot food options like fully loaded fries and burgers from the Salty Dog Grill until 11 PM, which is later than most other ships keep their poolside spots open.
We also went to Ocean View Terrace, which has a sushi set menu included in the Princess Plus package. Nathan was a bit disappointed with his meal, though I actually thought it was great.
I guess I just like sushi more than him.
Compared to like Morella, you get a lot more for your money, and in my opinion, the food was better.
When we were on board, we thought that the Princess Plus package offered brilliant value, drinks, Wi-Fi, gratuities all included, along with loads more. It was definitely worth it for us, just for the drinks alone. The only thing that we're not a big fan of is the 15 drink limit, because drinks are not all equal.
If you have 15 glasses of wine, sure, you'll be on the floor. But 15 Baileys or mild cocktails, it's surprisingly easy to hit the limit, which we actually did on one of the nights.
We're calling bullshit on this whole 15 limit drink because Nathan's hit his 15 limits now. I'm on 14 and we're not drunk at all.
I know, we're such lushes.
Now that soft drinks are included in the 15 drink limit too, I think next time we'd probably go for the Premier package instead. The Princess app was great for keeping track of how many drinks you'd had and what other perks you'd claimed, like the premium desserts, though it wasn't always totally accurate.
I think just went down. It just says 7 and now it's on 6. I've lost a drink. Alright. Or gained a drink.
And it definitely made you more conscious about your drink count. Another free app we really love is the Cruise Globe, where you can log all your cruises. It tracks your exact route using GPS, so you can see everywhere you've been, which is such a fun feature if you love looking back at past trips. And if you fancy a keepsake, you can even order a custom cruise map of your voyage through the cruise maps.
Use our link below for 10% off.
We couldn't help but notice that certain drinks kept running out of stock, and it was always Nathan's favourites, of course. His rosé wine disappeared early in the cruise, and even Foster's ran out more than once.
Oh, what?
Foster's, as they say in bloody Australia, mate.
Okay, cool. But they did just say that it's the last one in this bar.
Yes, he sounds very lucky if it's the last one in the bar.
By the end, it became a bit of a running joke that if Nathan liked it, it wouldn't be around for long.
Even though everything wasn't perfect, we absolutely loved our time on Sky Princess. The ship felt elegant, the medallion tech made everything effortless, and the crew were incredible. From the bar staff to the restaurant staff, who clearly were feeders, and everyone in between, they couldn't do enough for you. By the end of the week, we completely understood why so many people love cruising with Princess.
But the big question is, would you do Princess again?
Oh, totally. Definitely.
We've also got a full day-to-day vlog series aboard Sky Princess on our channel, where we show you life around the ship and walk you through everything from embarkation to the Princess Plus package, and so much more. We'll see you over there.
We're brand new to Sky